Elias Thorne had always been a man who blended into the background, like a shadow in a dimly lit room. At 35, he found himself adrift in the small town of Willow Creek, a place where the days blurred into one another like smudged ink on old paper. His divorce from Sarah had been finalized 6 months ago, a quiet affair marked by more paperwork than tears. She'd taken the house, the dog, and what little spark remained in his life. His job as an accountant at the local mill had followed suit, downsized in a wave of automation that left him staring at unemployment forms under the harsh glow of his kitchen bulb. Nights were the worst. Elias would sit on his sagging porch, nursing a warm beer, watching the full moon rise over the rolling hills. It was on one such night, December 28, 2025, that the rumors reached him. Old Man Hargrove, the town's unofficial historian and perpetual drunk, stumbled past his fence, muttering about the carnival. "It comes with the moon," he slurred, eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. "Faded tents, lights that flicker like dying stars. But beware the funhouse. The clown guards it. Promises you'll find what you've lost, but folks who go in, they don't come out the same." Elias dismissed it as the ramblings of a fool, but curiosity, that insidious whisper, gnawed at him. What did he have to lose? His life was a hollow shell, echoing with regrets. The next evening, as the full moon hung low and bloated in the sky, he drove his rusted pickup to the outskirts of town, where the fields gave way to a forgotten lot overgrown with weeds. There it was, the carnival. It materialized like a dream, or a nightmare, shrouded in fog that rolled in from nowhere. Tents sagged under invisible weight, their stripes faded to ghostly grays and reds. Strings of bulbs swung lazily, casting erratic shadows that danced like tormented spirits. The air smelled of popcorn and rust, a sickly, sweet decay that clung to his clothes. No crowds bustled here, only a handful of shadowy figures wandered the midway, their faces obscured by hoods or hats pulled low. Games stalls stood silent, prizes dangling like nooses, stuffed animals with button eyes that seemed to follow him. Elias shivered, pulling his jacket tighter. This wasn't the vibrant fairs of his childhood. This was something dredged from the underbelly of forgotten memories. He wandered aimlessly at first, passing a Ferris wheel that creaked in the wind, its cars empty and swaying. A calliope played a tinny melody somewhere in the distance, off-key and haunting. Then he saw it. The funhouse. It loomed at the edge of the grounds, a ramshackle structure with peeling paint and a sign that read Hall of Eternal Smiles in cracked letters. Guarding the entrance was the clown. The figure was tall, unnaturally so, clad in a patchwork suit of faded polka dots and ruffles. Its face was a mask of white grease paint, dominated by a wide, painted smile that stretched from ear to ear. Too wide, too perfect. The eyes were black voids, rimmed in red, staring unblinking. No words escaped its lips. It merely gestured with a gloved hand toward the darkened doorway, as if inviting him into an embrace. Elias hesitated. The clown's silence was oppressive, but those eyes, they promised something. Understanding? Redemption? He thought of Sarah's last words. "You're empty, Elias. Nothing left to give." Maybe this was a sign. With a deep breath, he stepped forward. The clown nodded once, its smile unchanging, and Elias crossed the threshold. Inside, the air grew thicker, laced with the scent of mothballs and something metallic, like blood. The entrance hall was lined with mirrors, ordinary at first, reflecting his disheveled form, tousled brown hair, stubbled chin, eyes hollow from sleepless nights. But as he ventured deeper, the mirrors warped. Convex and concave surfaces twisted his image, making him taller, shorter, fatter, thinner. Laughter echoed faintly, not his own, but a chorus of giggles that seemed to come from the glass itself. He turned a corner, and the first vision hit him.
In a large, ornate mirror framed in tarnished gold, he saw not himself, but a version of Elias that could have been. This man stood tall in a sharp suit, shaking hands with executives in a gleaming boardroom. CEO Elias Thorne, a voice whispered from the mirror, soft and seductive. You made the right choices. No layoffs, no failures. Success was always yours. Elias reached out, fingers brushing the cold glass. The reflection smiled at him, a warm, confident grin that he hadn't worn in years. Step through, the whisper urged. Trade places. This can be you. His heart raced. Was it possible? The divorce, the job loss, they felt like distant nightmares. But something nagged at him, a flicker of doubt. He pulled away, shaking his head, and moved on. The maze twisted, corridors branching in impossible directions. Mirrors multiplied, each offering a new temptation. In the next one, he saw Sarah. Not the bitter woman who'd left him, but the girl he'd met in college, her eyes sparkling with love. They were on their honeymoon again, walking hand in hand along a sun-drenched beach. No arguments, no drifting apart. You chose me. We built a life together. Children, a home, happiness eternal. Tears welled in Elias's eyes. He pressed his palm against the glass, feeling a faint warmth. The reflection Elias turned to him, beckoning. Come, leave the pain behind. But as he leaned closer, the image rippled. For a split second, Sarah's face contorted, her smile twisting into a rictus of agony. Elias jerked back, heart pounding. What the hell? He muttered, wiping his eyes. The maze seemed to close in, the laughter growing louder, more insistent.
Deeper he went, the air growing colder, the lights dimmer. Shadows flitted at the edges of his vision, shapes that weren't quite reflections. In another mirror, he saw himself as a famous author, signing books for adoring fans. Your words changed the world, the whisper cooed. Fame, fortune, yours for the taking. Each vision was more alluring than the last, painting pictures of roads not taken, regrets erased. But with each, the distortions grew. Reflections lingered when he looked away, eyes following him with hungry intent. The giggles turned to whispers. Join us, smile forever. Panic set in when he realized he was lost. Corridors looped back on themselves, dead ends appearing where paths had been. He banged on a mirror, shouting for help, but only his warped face stared back, mouth open in a silent scream. Then he saw them, the others, in a cluster of mirrors, faces pressed against the glass from the inside, their features frozen in eternal, agonizing smiles. A young woman with tear-streaked cheeks, her grin wide and unnatural. An old man, eyes pleading, mouth stretched in forced joy. Help us, they mouthed, but no sound escaped. Their bodies were shadows, trapped in the reflective void. Elias stumbled back, horror clawing at his throat. What is this place? A low chuckle echoed behind him. He whirled to find the clown standing there, in the maze now, its painted smile gleaming under the flickering lights. It didn't speak, but the whispers intensified, coming from all around. The Hall of Eternal Smiles, where lost souls find what they seek and give what we need. The clown raised a hand, and the mirrors shimmered. Elias saw the truth in flashes. The carnival wasn't real, or at least not in the way he thought. It was a predator, a wandering entity that fed on despair, luring the broken with promises of better lives. The clown was its avatar, a vessel for stolen joy, its mask woven from the happiness it devoured. Each victim who traded places surrendered their essence, their smiles eternalized in torment, while their bodies wandered the world as hollow shells. But the deepest horror was yet to come. In the central mirror, the largest of all, Elias saw his own life, not the temptations, but the reality. Or was it?
The image showed him on his porch, beer in hand, but then it shifted. He saw himself entering the carnival years ago. No, decades. Time looped, his real life a fabrication, a bait to keep him circling. "You've been here before," the whispers revealed, "many times. Each escape leads back to the entrance. Your smile feeds us." Elias screamed, smashing his fist against the glass. Cracks spiderwebbed, but the reflections only multiplied, each shard showing a grinning version of himself. The clown advanced, its silent laugh shaking the air. In a desperate bid, he rejected the visions. "This isn't me," he shouted, turning away from the mirrors. "I don't want your lies." The maze convulsed, walls shifting. He ran, blindly, crashing through illusions until he burst out into the night air. The carnival was gone, vanished like mist in the morning sun. He was back in his truck, heart racing, the full moon mocking him from above. But as he drove home, a chill settled. In the rearview mirror, his reflection smiled, a wide, painted grin that wasn't his own. The twist? He hadn't escaped. He never had. The carnival was inside him now, eternal.